Good evening and welcome to CKPG News. I'm Adam Burles. Darren Rappel was named to the role of superintendent in October, but he's not new to the local RCMP detachment. And he's familiar with the issues facing local policing in our community and has aspirations about ways to improve them in the future. Cheryl Jan reports.
Organized crime is a business, not so unlike any other business. They have a product to sell, and they have the customers that demand that product.
That's how the city's top cop describes a major source of the crime that occurs in Prince George. In fact, in November, the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police issued a statement saying it no longer supports the decriminalization of any amount of illicit drugs for personal use.
They were certainly fully support of trying something different, recognizing that it is a health problem. But removing the enforcement pillar away from that piece was problematic for us. It did remove tools from our tool belt in trying to deal with those individuals that preyed upon others in our community.
A new addition to the RCMP, body-worn cameras, arrived in 2024, though it was a couple of years in the making. Prince George is one of 7 communities to pilot their use.
First video was sent over to Crown Council that very day, and we've sent over many videos since then. We're in some respects, we're kind of building the bridges. We're walking across it, being wave 0 here. It was expected. You don't know all of the issues that are going to arise. A unique policing environment up here in the north.
He says the cameras will be rolled out in the rest of North District over the next 18 months. In the meantime, Superintendent Darren Rappel will be in front of City Council in the new year when it comes to budget time.
We do have an enhancement request. We would like to continue to build on our proactive side of the RCMP. Our general duty, for the most part, are reactive, so it would be nice to have additional capacity so we could get into the schools, we could do more proactive patrols, more investigations that are a little bit more in-depth and help to maybe turn the page there with some of the elements of crime we have in town.
A couple of irons are in the fire for the new year as well, including the concept of having a healthcare practitioner, like a nurse, work with police in the event of a mental health issue.
At night, when you're dealing with a client that has a mental health issue, there might be an opportunity to put that person in contact with a nurse via phone through OCC, and that might be able to resolve what is ultimately a health issue there and then, or perhaps set up an opportunity for them to meet with health workers later on in the communities.
Last but not least, the local RCMP are working with Crown Council with what's called the Repeat Violent Offender Intervention Initiative, which will see a dedicated prosecutor handle cases when a single individual becomes a frequent offender, regardless of the crime. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
2024 was a busy year for advocacy in Prince George, with community members of many backgrounds standing up to make their voices heard. Unfortunately, the topic of overdose deaths was once again a prevailing theme of the year, and Tommy Osborne spoke to one of Prince George's most outspoken advocates about the year and what next year could bring.
As an advocate, we mourn the dead and fight like hell for the living.
2024 was a difficult year for many, as 99 people in Prince George died due to drug overdoses, higher than the 92 deaths in 2023. The 2024 stats from the BC government only go up to November, meaning that number, unfortunately, is only expected to rise.
This year has been incredibly sad in a lot of ways. We do a lot of grief work in Prince George with over 500 parents that have lost someone to the toxic drug supply.
While Prince George has already seen more deaths this year than last, 2024 did see a decline provincially, as the time frame of January to October saw 1,925 deaths this year, compared to 2,107 last year.
We need to start educating the public. We need to join forces with the RCMP and our MPs and MLAs, come up with some strategies.
One strategy the province is moving forward with is involuntary care, as Premier David Eby changed his stance, a move Miller calls incredibly disappointing.
We advocated for free voluntary care versus involuntary care, which hit home for me really hard because I forced my child into care. And I don't see that as an upward movement by our government.
Voluntary care facilities, education, mental health supports, detoxing treatments, and more are just some ways Miller says could reduce the amount of overdoses, alongside the obvious move of fighting against the source of drugs itself.
Working with the RCMP to make the community safer against transnational criminals who are flooding our cities, our hometown with fentanyl and analogs and veterinary tranquilizers and fake pills.
Miller added, it's the season for partying, and you could potentially save lives by being extra vigilant about checking drugs, and you can also get free naloxone kits at Two Doors Down, located on 3rd Avenue, downtown. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
More information has been released regarding a fire on Christmas Eve that destroyed the Red Rock Way scale just south of Prince George. The Ministry of Transportation says nobody was at the facility at the time of the incident, and they also note that safety enforcement will continue with commercial vehicle safety and enforcement staff redeployed to mobile patrols and the weigh scales at Prince George North and Vanderhoof. 24 firefighters from 4 volunteer fire halls responded to the early morning blaze, and damages are estimated at $850,000. Drive BC added 22 new cameras this year, including one on Pine Pass at the access road to Powder King. The Pine Pass camera was replaced because the previous one broke, and the other new cameras installed and also replaced broken ones or went to new locations where demand was up. Drive BC says these cameras play a big role in keeping roads safe, as it allows drivers to see what conditions are like before potentially heading out on a long trip. The 22 new cameras will bring 37 more views, bringing the total amount of views Drive BC offers to 10,037. Coming up next on CKPG News, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government could be brought down in just over a month. The lowest gas price in Prince George is $1.42.9 per litre at Costco. This also happens to be the lowest price in the province right now. Manitoba currently has the lowest gas prices in the country on average at $1.26.5 per litre. Meanwhile, BC has an average price of $1.64 per litre. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government could be brought down in just over a month. Conservative MP Jonathan Williamson says he will put forward his non-confidence motion at a Public Account Committee meeting on January 7th. The motion would be kicked over to the House of Commons to deal with it when it returns on January the 27th and could be voted on as early as January 30th, triggering an immediate election campaign if it passes. 3 non-confidence motions brought forward by the Tories failed in the fall, but now NDP leader Jagmeet Singh says he's ready to bring down the government following Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland's surprise resignation from Cabinet. And as Canadians wait to see what Justin Trudeau does next, a close friend of his says it's unlikely the PM will lead the Liberal Party into the next election. Gerald Butts says the resignation of Chrystia Freeland as finance minister dealt Trudeau a staggering blow that loosened his already tenuous grip on the party. He says it also means the next election will probably come sooner rather than later next year and is even more likely to result in a Conservative majority government. The remarks come as the Conservatives plan to get the ball rolling early in the new year on a no-confidence vote that could bring down the government in a little more than a month. Caribou Prince George MP Todd Doherty is on the verge of spending 10 years in Ottawa, first elected in 2015, and it's been a productive near decade. And 2024 was also a productive year for Doherty. Once again, Cheryl Jan reports.
It has been a banner year for local MP Todd Doherty. After much kicking and screaming, Doherty's private members bill that paved the way for a 3-digit suicide prevention hotline got off the ground after much work to a highly successful inaugural year.
You know, it is something I never, when I wrote my name down on the ballot or considered running, I never thought, you'd have the opportunity to make a profound impact on people's lives, whether it's through the passing of 988.
Earlier this month, Doherty was making his case for another private member's bill to consider the fact that the victim of an assault is a healthcare professional or a first responder to be an aggravating circumstance for the purposes of sentencing.
You know, the wheels of bureaucracy move glacially slow, and that's something that, you learn early on in the process of this. Sadly, it's something that makes so much common sense. It just has to go through kind of the process.
And these two private members' bills aren't all that Doherty has up his sleeve.
So we have a private members bill. It's already tabled. It's recognizing like either RCMP or military that are deployed domestically that provide domestic services like wildfires and what have you. So it's a service medal for them, just recognition of their service. So we have that.
And Doherty ends 2024 with a message to constituents.
Through thick and thin, the messages that we get from our constituents always seem to come at the right time. And whether it's in a parking lot, whether it's a text message for those who have my cell phone, or a message on social media, we truly appreciate you and we love you. And it is an honor, has been an honor, and continues to be an honor to serve the riding at Caribou Prince George.
And with that, a very Merry Christmas from MP Todd Doherty. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
Coming up next on CKPG News and Sports, the Cougars are back in action tonight.
Chance of flurries building in Saturday afternoon in the Prince George area. That is expected throughout the day on Sunday as well, as you can see on our futurecast here, especially as you get into the first half of Sunday. Sunday afternoon easing off a little bit, but actually as you get into Monday, that chance of flurries is anticipated to bring some snowfall. So periods of snow is expected Monday throughout this weekend. However, Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning in the Prince George area, looking at a chance of flurries. So yes, mainly cloudy. Chance of flurries is the expectation for this weekend. Temperature-wise, though, actually relatively mild. So here's our highs tomorrow across BC. Prince George tomorrow starts off the weekend with a high of -4. Terrace in comparison, a high of +2, so a little bit warmer as you get more into BC's north coast area. Okanagan, Kelowna looking at a high of +3. Vancouver, the lower mainland, a high of +10. And even actually over on Vancouver Island, Victoria, also looking at a high of 10 degrees for tomorrow. Here's our extended forecast for the Burns Lake area. So tomorrow, Saturday, starting off with some low cloud cover, a foggy morning is expected. Much of the same on Sunday as well. Temperature-wise, relatively mild. Highs of -4 and 5 degrees after that, though. Monday, look at that, a little morning snowfall in the forecast for the Burns Lake area. Mackenzie area also looking at a chance of flurries building in that second half of the weekend. So tomorrow looking relatively cloudy. Sunday, though, chance of some morning flurries, and that will continue in through the afternoon on Sunday as well. McBride area, even stronger chance of snowfall. So chance of snowfall beginning in the afternoon for tomorrow, continuing into Sunday as well, and actually even into Monday. A little bit of snow at times is anticipated. Here's our extended forecast for the Quesnel area. So relatively cloudy for tomorrow, a slight chance of flurries building in. Similar for Sunday, although seeing a little bit more sunshine in the forecast there. Monday, though, a little bit of snowfall at times is the expectation. Prince George forecast for the weekend, looking mostly cloudy, a chance of flurries throughout Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning. Now Monday, though, that chance of flurries is expected to strengthen, even bringing a little bit of snow.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Feed your team tonight with a delicious mix and match combo. Chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
The Cougars kick off their post-Christmas schedule tonight on the road against the Victoria Royals. And it's a battle of the top two teams in the BC division, as the overachieving Royals are just one game back of the Cats. Prince George enter the second half on a hot streak, winning 5 of their last 6, with 3 of them coming on the road. The Cougars wrap up 2025 with 3 games away from home and will have to neutralize projected first-round pick in next summer's draft, Cole Reshny, to pick up some points this weekend. The Prince George Spruce Kings are back at Copart Memorial Arena for a weekend doubleheader against the Nanaimo Clippers. The Kings and Clippers are separated by just 1 point in the Coastal Conference standings, as both teams are trying to turn their season around in the second half. These games are the first meetings between the two teams of the season and the only two in Prince George, with the final pair of games taking place in January and February on Vancouver Island. The Kings wrap up their 2024 calendar year at home this weekend before hitting the road for their first couple of games of the new year. The Prince George Spruce Kings have signed goaltender Dylan Johnson for the remainder of the 2024-25 season, as Colin Ray, who was acquired by the Kings at the beginning of December, requires season-ending surgery. General Manager Mike Hawes says that Ray had an MRI over the break on an existing groin hip injury. A tear that was discovered requires immediate season-ending surgery. Johnson is 6'1", 200 pounds from Dallas, Texas, and has played 6 games in the USHL this season between Dubuque and Green Bay, putting up a 3-2 record with a 3.73 goals against average and a .853 save percentage. Prior to his time in the USHL, Johnson spent 2 seasons in the NAHL, winning the Robertson Cup with the Oklahoma Warriors in 2023. Johnson is in Prince George and will be in the lineup when the Spruce Kings return to the ice tomorrow. It was a fiery start of the 2025 World Junior Championships for Team Canada. In their Thursday home opener in Ottawa, Canada blanked Finland 4-0. In the first period, Canada carried the play, outshooting Finland 17-6. However, with 52 seconds left in play, Gavin McKenna makes it past Finland's goalie Rimpinen, scoring the first goal. The second period saw Easton Cowan send a laser into the net. This followed by Luca Pinelli in the third period, and Matthew Schaefer made the final goal on an empty net with only 19 seconds left of the game. Goalie Carter George earned a 31-save shutout in his World Junior debut, earning him the title of Canada's Player of the Game. And Canada is on the ice this Friday in a battle against Latvia. As Christmas is now behind us, the NBA's Holiday Hoops was great, but in tonight's CKP3, let's take a look back at some of the most iconic plays on Christmas.
Dwayne Wade and LeBron James were one of the best duos of the 2000s and showed again why back on Christmas of 2014.
In transition, Wade finds James! Grab that, put it under your Christmas tree.
With the iconic sleeve jerseys on, the Heat finished off a highlight play against the rebuilding Lakers. While LeBron was also on the court for this next highlight, it was his other All-Star guard teammate that came up big against the Golden State Warriors.
Here comes Irving, drives on Thompson. Irving spins, puts up the shot. It's good! Kyrie Irving with 3.4 remaining, and the Warriors call timeout. Irving does it again to the Warriors.
Kyrie's game-winning bucket over Klay Thompson capped off one of the greatest NBA Christmas games this century. Lastly, just 2 years ago, there was an OT thriller between the Suns and Nuggets, and Denver were looking to take control in the Mile High City.
Here comes Aaron Gordon the other way. Gordon! Oh my goodness!
Drink this in with your eyes, ladies and gentlemen.
Aaron Gordon's poster over Landry Shamet capped off a Nuggets win before they won their first NBA title later that season to wrap up tonight's CKP3.
All right, that's our show. Thanks so much for joining us. We are back on Monday. Have a great night and have a great weekend. And your last look tonight are some alpacas. Enjoy and have a great night.